Knicks end their 2-game losing streak. You know, this sounds funny, but I said it before last night's game. I said it originally before the All-Star break when Sacramento came to town and the Knicks were a game below 500. If the Knicks, I know the expectations aren't very high this year. They've been reset higher than they were. But the Knicks are expected now to make the playoffs. You know, at least the play-in. I mean, there are 15 teams in a conference. 10 of them still play after the regular season is over. The Knicks, at this point, have to be one of them, right? But that's not going to happen if you're a game below 500. It's before the All-Star break. Sacramento comes to town, a bad team, and you lose. You can't lose on your home floor and fall 2 games below 500. Those are the must-win games for a team scrapping for the playoffs or the play-in. Because not a lot separates, you know, the 4th seed from the play-in games or the play-in game, 9 and 10. So you cannot be hoping to make at least a play-in game and lose at home to a team like Sacramento before the All-Star break to go 2 games below 500 instead of winning and getting to 500. But damn it, it's the same thing after the All-Star break with a team like Orlando. If the Knicks want to be that team that now has reset expectations and must meet them. I mean, you could say the Knicks don't have to win a play-in game for it to be a successful season. That's a wash. But if they make a play-in game and win a play-in game and compete in the first round, that's not bad. And if they somehow get into the second round, that's a big win for them this year. You can't do that losing to a team like Orlando in your building when you're a game below 500. It's such a big swing. Like, imagine they lose that Sacramento game and the game last night, right? That's a bit. They're 500 now. They're 21 and 21. Big difference. 19 and 23. Imagine that right now. They're 19 and 23. They're going nowhere at that. But 21 and 21, and look at the kind of win it was. Comes down to the wire, 94-93. Julius Randle comes through. Reggie Bullock redeemed himself from a late turnover with a key steal from Evan Fournier in the closing seconds to steal the win. You know, that's what young, improving, winning teams do. That's when guys are pulling feet for each other and playing for each other. Knicks have now won as many games here in the 2021 season as they did all of last season, 21. Julius Randle said it's really important. Defense has been our calling card. That's right. That's how we've won games. That's how we won today. So it's only right for Reggie to hit the stop, to get the stop down the stretch. Now, at the end of the day, are they simply a 500 team? By the way, if the Knicks end this season 500 and are playing when the regular season is over, that's a nice start. I would say, though, at this point, the expectation is that when the regular season is over, the Knicks will still be playing basketball. And at this point, if that's a playing game that they lose, that's a disappointment. At this point, the Knicks, if they wind up in the play-in, they have to win that game to consider this season a success. It could come down to that one game. Otherwise, they need to make the playoffs. And if they make the playoffs and they win a couple games in the first round, I think they can feel good about themselves. An unqualified success for this season for the Knicks is winning a first-round series. However, it's unlikely they'll be a top 4 seed, so they're going to be playing a team much better than them. And they're not expected to beat Milwaukee or Miami or Boston if they get it together. Certainly not Philadelphia. So I get it. But if they can win a couple games from teams like that, got to reset expectations. 500 teams okay in this Eastern Conference. But forget about the actual record. It's what happens at the end of the season. Are you still playing basketball? And they must be. I'll tell you one thing. An unmitigated disaster is the regular season ends and the Knicks are no longer playing basketball. No playing game, no nothing. That at this point is a disaster. They have raised expectations for themselves, as Julius Randle said, with their defense. Teams know it ain't going to be a walk in the park with the Knicks. The Nets knew it. The Sixers, even with the Knicks playing second of back-to-back, the Sixers knew it. And if you want to know what the second of back-to-back means, the very next night, the Sixers played second of back-to-back against the Bucks right after the Knicks. And the Sixers played really tough, but eventually lost. They faded. They're tired. The Nets game was big. The Sixers game was big. 0-2 in those games, but you had to walk away as a Knicks fan feeling good about it. And I gotta say, last night's game was big. I look at Sacramento before the All-Star break. I look at this game against Orlando after the All-Star break. Both times a game below 500. That is the entire season right there. Can you win those kind of games? They do by a single point with a defensive play by Reggie Bullock.